Hi everyone, welcome back to the See the Stories on 3 Hour News Show. Now, before we jump into our first discussion, let me ask Maria here. Have you, traveled and met indigenous people in some region here in Indonesia?
Not yet directly.
Not yet directly,
but
okay.
I saw some of them in documentary series.
Ah, right, of course. That means something, you have an idea.
Yes,
right?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Now, talking
what
about...
about you? Have you?
Yes, a couple of times because I worked in a mining company and we had a mine in Central Kalimantan.
I see.
So whenever I went there for a work visit, and I would encounter some of them, I would make some chit chat a little bit.
I see.
So,
I actually remember I've met some of them, the Bajo people in Labuan Bajo.
Ah, so you did?
Yeah,
See?
the great divers.
Oh, there you go. So now, talking about indigenous people, let's get to know more about them. Indigenous people are unique communities with deep social and cultural connections with their ancestral lands and natural resources. They have a rich history of inhabiting, occupying, or, unfortunately, being displaced from these areas. According to the United Nations, over 476 million indigenous individuals reside in 90 countries worldwide, making up 6.2% of the world's population. There are more than 5,000 distinct indigenous groups, each with its own unique identities and traditions.
Nowadays, the Dayak tribe is known for preserving its traditions, including the stretch earlobes.
Yes, and next month the tribe will introduce this tradition in an exhibition held in the Netherlands. Now let's delve into this unique tradition and its contemporary significance with the long earlobes or Kuping Panjang theme.
Joining us are co-initiator of the Long Ears Through the Lens exhibition, Belai Jandam, Ati Bahtiar, the photographer, and one of Dayak's last long-ear ladies, Yek Lawin. So thank you for coming to see today.
Hello, thank you
so much for carving out your time to be here. So tell us a bit about the Long Ears Through the Lens exhibition and what inspired you to initiate this project.
So thank you so much again for inviting us to be here. We are really honored to be able to share about our cultural mission, which is the Long Ears Through the Lens. So this really is a platform that we want to use to celebrate the indigenous cultures and traditions and customs of the Borneo Dayak people. And so this event will be held in the Netherlands from the end of May until the end of June. And we will be featured in a few places, including the Sophia Hof Museum, Tong Tong Fair, if you've heard about it, Taman Indonesia, and also Rumah Indonesia. And the idea to hold this exhibition came about 4 years ago, and it was very heavily inspired by the work of Ati Bahtiar. And you'll hear a bit more about her story later on, but her dedication and perseverance in traveling through East, North, and West Kalimantan to discover and learn about the history and trace the existence of long ears was something that was really inspiring to us, and especially because she's doing all of this for about 7 years, producing 3 books about the long ears.
Wow.
Despite not coming from the community. So she sees, value and merit in upholding this tradition, and so that's something we want to showcase in the exhibition in May and June. And then moreover, my mother, Yani Salo, who is the initiator and main lead of this event, actually traveled to Long Isun, which is where Nenek Yek Lawing is from, and that's where they first met as well. So that historical connection is also something that pulled us to kind of make this exhibition a reality. And as for myself, as a Dayak youth and also a Dayak diaspora, I think we have such a big responsibility to protect and preserve all of these traditions and wisdom that our ancestors have passed down to us, something that is not always easy to protect. But the main message that we want to get out there is that we, the Dayak people of Kalimantan, have a beautiful culture that is worth protecting together.
Wow.
Wow, very
Such a
nice.
beautiful
This is
story,
something that we
right?
are going to be looking forward to. So
Yeah.
this is going to happen next month in the Netherlands. Are you
Yep.
going to
Yes,
be
all
there
three
too?
of us, and also Ding Hibao is here this
Best
time
of
next
luck
month.
for the
This time next
event.
month.
Best of
Thank
luck
you
for the
so much.
journey,
Yes,
of course.
again.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're gonna ask Nenek Yaklawin,
Yaklawin.
right, for the earlobes, the long earlobes tradition within the Dayak tribe. Nenek, bisa kita tanya ya, boleh diceritakan apa makna tradisi dari kuping panjang, Nek, dalam suku Dayak?
Ya, terima kasih. Makna kuping panjang itu kami orang Dayak saya punya ini umur 3 tahun. Dari umur 3 tahun.
Oh wow.
Iya.
So nggak pernah dilepas dari umur 3 tahun
Tidak.
itu, Nek?
Saya masuk sekolah SD 4 tahun, lulus. Sampai saya punya anak sampai sekarang. Tidak saya
Jadi,
lepaskan.
Walaupun mandi atau melakukan segala kegiatan pun tetap
Ya,
nempel gitu.
tidak. Saya waktu muda itu berburu.
Seperti ini.
Ya, bawa ini juga.
Ya.
Tidur apa kegiatan tidak biasa dilepas itu.
Terus cerita di balik harus menggunakan anting sepanjang waktu itu apa, Nek?
Ya memang itu tradisi dari nenek moyang kita, tidak bisa kita lepas.
Iya.
Gitu.
Ya maksud saya ada apa unsur tersendiri, ada value yang didapat. Iya, artinya kenapa harus iya?
Ya itu memang ada makna itu di samping budaya kita, tradisi itu menambah kecantikan waktu kita masih muda. Gitu.
Yes.
Jadi nenek moyang kita itu tidak kita harus semua bikin itu. Kalau sekarang itu mereka mengikuti zaman jadi tidak mau. Hanya saya sendiri yang masih sampai sekarang.
Baik, Nek.
So if we can share a little bit here, guys. So Nenek Yak, she's been the earlobes. She started this when she was 3
years old.
3 years old.
Yeah.
And then not only her, her daughters also now
Yeah.
doing the same.
Yeah.
And
she never took it off.
never
Doing
whatever
everything,
she
even
was
taking
doing
a
ever since she
shower
was 3.
and
Yes.
doing the jobs of everyday life. She's wearing it like an accessory.
Right, exactly. And the history behind it?
Yeah, the history behind it is because it's
Symbol
very
of beauty.
Yeah, it's to enhance beauty of
There you go.
traditional Dayak
that's
people,
something that-
and that's what they've been doing for years, right? Like for centuries maybe.
Amazing.
Wow. So untuk Ibu Ati, you have written 3 books about the history of the long earlobes. Could you share your journey and what inspired you to write a book? Karena kan kita tahu menulis buku tidak mudah ya Bu, apalagi Ibu sudah menerbitkan, especially you have published 3 books.
Yeah.
That's a long journey.
Yeah, the story began with meeting the wooden statue of Dayak woman with
Yep.
long ears,
Yep.
crying with tears, red blood in front of the traditional house in the Dayak village. It seems express deep sorrow, and I felt the impression of me, and still sampai saat itu I want to know more about who this woman with long ears was, and saya berusaha untuk tahu lebih banyak, and why she cried so bitterly. Because the wooden statue and crying with the red blood. In 7 years during the 2016s, I tried to travel from the Samarinda to the Malaysia border, along the rivers and the coast of West Kalimantan, as far as Metun Sajau village in North Kalimantan and Kayan Mendalam village in Kalimantan Barat. And I documented 70, the last 78 long ears last generation, and sadly 30 of them has passed away.
Oh.
And none of the descendant wants to willing to continue century of old tradition.
Old tradition.
Yeah. And I feel sad. As a photographer,
take your time.
yeah, I felt as a photographer have to compile the history of tradition, the exchange the exchange of kepunahan,
The extinct of
the extent of the tradition, not just traditional Indonesian traditional, but as in traditional of the world.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is a traditional of the world.
Yeah. So you wrote these 3 books to preserve the tradition because you don't want it to be extinct.
Yeah.
Right.
We have to mengabadikan in 3 books. The first book introduced my journey.
Yeah.
Introduced my journey. Starting from Samarinda to border of Malaysia, along the Mahakam River, and meeting 43 of long ears grandmother from the Bahau and Kenya tribe.
Okay.
Yeah. The second book, I travel from Samarinda to coast the East Kalimantan, till the border of East Kalimantan. And this journey, I met the Dayak Wehea tribe that have a unique ritual, Lomplai, the Lomplai. This is ritual harvest rice harvest festival held each years. And the third book is resume the entire of the journey and the history of the long ears are diperkirakan datang from where and who they are and what have they done, and what is the extent of tradition of elonging the ears linked to the practice of cut the ear, cutting ear cutting.
Okay.
Yeah, it is happen.
Okay.
In Dayak as well.
Yeah.
The ear cutting.
Ear cutting. And in the third book also tells the story of the expedition of the Dutch, expedition of the Dutch explorer Anton Nieuwenhuis in 1974. In the route is almost the same route almost
As us.
as I have done.
Yeah. I see. So each book has its own unique story.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the first 2 books originated from different Dayak tribes.
Yeah.
And the third book focuses on the elongated ear story, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The surprising for me that in fact there is cut the practice
ears,
of cut
right.
ear.
In what event do Dayak people cut their ears?
When the teenager realize that there is a globalization and with the modern lifestyle
Modernization.
and they they feel same with
Of the tradition.
tradition.
Oh, that's why they cut
Yeah.
their elongated ears.
Yes.
Oh, so that they can appear
So they
normal,
can
like
adjust,
yeah, like leaving the tradition behind.
yeah.
Right.
Oh, that's
And
sad.
I know.
the real fact is no one descendant willing to continue this tradition.
I see. About how many percent of people in
Oh,
Dayak?
it's a million.
Oh, I
it
mean,
is-
who still preserve the traditional?
preserve the tradition. I have 78, the last
78 people.
people just.
Oh, just,
Oh,
now
just
it's
78.
remaining
It's like
78.
yeah, wow. Is that
and
even less
and
than
30 of
1%?
them and 30 of them has passed away. So still
It's
48
like yeah,
still.
About
0
48
point
people.
something percent.
Yeah. This is a terrible for
Yeah.
me that and I have to document the last generation to preserve
Yeah, yeah.
preserve the fact,
Yeah, yeah.
the history.
Yeah.
This woman still pernah ada ya, still have exist.
Yeah, yeah. So that generations to come will know the story
Yes,
Yeah.
very
and
important.
not just be vanished.
Exactly.
Right.
I think the long ears have a great philosophy.
Yeah.
A side of
Beauty.
and there's this symbolize of satu sosial life, satu sosial,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
okay, and
Social status.
yeah, satu status and apa ya, jati diri, the identity of the tribe,
Self-identity
yeah,
of Dayak tribe.
Very
yes.
important.
See.
Especially from Apokayan rumpun ya, rumpun
Yeah.
Apokayan.
Yeah. So in Dayak tribe there has some like sub-tribes.
Subtribe,
Yeah,
We
yes.
call it in
Yeah.
Indonesia
Do
it's
we know
rumpun.
how many?
Yeah.
Rumpun, yeah.
Maybe
One of
you
them
can
is
help us, yeah?
Apokayan. Yeah.
Yeah.
How many sub-tribe
Yeah,
are there?
Dayak have 7 tribe and
tribes?
for 405
Sub-tribes.
405
Oh
sub-tribes.
wow,
Okay.
405 sub-tribes.
Right,
That's
right.
a lot.
Yeah, but a very, very good story there, explaining to us how the journey from first, second to third book, and then summarizing it there. Now, going back to Bella a little
Bella.
bit, can you tell us now again, share the story about how you managed, to get this the exhibition later on in The Hague within the month's time? Can you
Yeah.
share the stories?
Because that's amazing.
Yeah, it really is. It's 4 years in the making, so we're really, really proud that we're here. And in this time next month, we should be in the Netherlands. So wish us luck for our journey. But the Long Ears Through the Lens, this cultural mission and exhibition is in partnership with KBRI Belanda,
Yeah.
so the Indonesian Embassy in the Netherlands, and also Indische Herinnering Centrum. And it turns out that the Indische Centrum actually has an ongoing partnership with Sophia Hof Museum. So that's how we first got connected with the museum, and we pitched the idea, and they so kindly hosted us to not only do like a full 2-day event on the 31st of May and the 1st of June, but for our exhibition, our ethnophotography exhibition, to stay there for the rest of the month. So even if you miss that 2-day opening, you will still be able to witness the stories and the photographies until the end of June.
Yeah, it's a month of
Yeah, a month-long
exhibition.
exhibition. Yeah.
Yeah, so you have done a lot of networking
Yes.
for this event to be able to be realized.
Yeah, and the fundraising is also like another part of it's also very challenging. I think something that we've learned in the past 4 years of fundraising for this event is it's really difficult to find financial support, particularly for cultural missions,
Yep.
I think, compared to maybe other events that
Yep.
are maybe sports-oriented,
social education,
music-oriented, So, and I think that difficulty of getting funding is also a reflection on how cultural missions are not very appreciated. And so really this process of fundraising is not just to get money, but it's to convince people that
Right.
this is an idea that's worth investing in, this is an idea that's worth being turned into a reality. And so we're very thankful to all of our sponsors and our funding partners who believe in this idea and want to go through this journey with us. And in particular, we're supported by Kemendikbud, so the Ministry of Education, Pertamina Mahakam Ulu, PT Antam, and also Canon data script, and we're very thankful that they're here to support us in this mission. And right now, in terms of preparation, we still have a little bit of fundraising left to go. We're optimistic because I think advocacies like this, being able to share about our exhibition and platform like the Today Show is an opportunity for us to reach more people and to convince more people that this is something that we are very passionate in supporting and executing. And then, hopefully this time next month, everything is set and prepared, and we will be on our way to the
Wow, way to go, Bella. Yeah, I think she did a great job.
I think so.
Yeah, because definitely not easy. So congrats on that. Saya kembali lagi ke Nenek Ye. Bagaimana rasanya waktu Nenek tahu bahwa tradisi dari telinga panjang ini ya bisa sampai ke Belanda gitu? Dijadikan event, dijadikan pameran seperti itu. Sampai 1 bulan di suatu kota di Belanda, di The Hague. Dan bagaimana Nenek memberitahukan ke teman-teman sebaya Nenek yang masih melestarikan tradisi ini?
Kalau di kampung tidak ada lagi.
Oh, cuma Nenek aja berarti?
Ya.
Nenek rasanya bagaimana? Perasaan Nenek ketika tahu bahwa tradisi ini bisa sampai ke mancanegara? Ya.
Sangat bangga Nenek.
Ya.
Very proud,
Dan Nenek juga sudah sedikit mengerti masalah-masalah penghidupan sekarang dengan tradisi. Ya, melalui tradisi telinga panjang ini budaya yang saya pertahankan. Mudah-mudahan dunia masih mengakui keberadaan masyarakat Long Isun dengan masalah yang...
Nenek terharu, saya jadi ikut terharu. Nenek is here is getting teary-eyed because she really loves
memang
her
perasaan
tradition.
Nenek sedih betul. Saya bujuk teman, tidak ada yang mau.
She feels proud, but at the same time she feels upset as well because in her village she is the only woman who's still preserving the long earlobes tradition, and also she wants every Dayak people to still love the tradition and
of course for the
educate
community,
younger generations to learn about the tradition itself.
Also to learn that Dayak tribe are still around, and then this is one of the traditions that they're still preserving, that we are still trying to make sure that everybody knows about this. Thank you, Nenek ya.
Terima kasih banyak Nenek. Ya, kita masih akan ngobrol, tapi kita akan teaser dulu sebentar Nenek untuk iklan.
Alright guys, now we're going to take a very quick break, but don't you go anywhere because See the Stories will continue after that, and we'll talk about more stuff. Hey guys, welcome back. Still with us on the See the Stories on the 3-Hour News Show. Now we're still continuing our discussion on preserving the Dayak Long Ears tradition, focusing on the upcoming exhibition in The Hague next month. Now, Bella, we're going to go back to you. How are the communities, Dayak communities, involved in planning and, of course, executing the exhibition moving forward?
Yep. So one of our collaborators, the Indische Centrum, one of their focus areas of work is around decolonization, which is this process of reversing systems and attitudes from colonial powers. And one of the ways that means is we respect the autonomy and agency of indigenous peoples. And so as we talked about incorporating decolonization and its theme into our exhibition, we realized that it's also something that we want to practice and honor during the preparation and also execution of the event. And so respecting the autonomy of Nenek Yek and the last generations of Long Ears and the autonomy of the Dayak tribe, and in particular Dayak Bahaw and the Apokayan Rumpun, which is where the Long Ears tradition originates from, the majority. So that's something that we are trying to live by and practice throughout the preparation and execution. And some examples are our core team. So the main kind of strategic team and also performers are all either from the Dayak community, like myself, like Nenek Yek, or have a long-standing and trusted relationship with the Dayak people, like Mbak Ati, who's dedicated 7 years and more to studying this and documenting this culture, and that's what we want to keep, because at its core we want this to be authentic and also respectful and representative of the real culture from the villages in East and North Kalimantan. And then in terms of what we're bringing to the Netherlands, the costumes, the instruments, the songs, the dances, all of that is also as authentic as we can. And an example is one of the core team members is Ding Hibao. He is a young Dayak filmmaker and also dancer. And so one of the ornaments or something that he will be using in his dance is the mandau, which if you know is like traditional Dayak sword.
Right.
And the mandau that he's bringing to the Netherlands is something that has been passed down from his grandpa to his father to him, and it's like a symbol of kind of being a man. And
like
so-
masculinity.
Yeah, and so that's an example of how we're bringing authenticism into this exhibition. And of course, there are some things that unfortunately we can't fully replicate. So for example, also Ding, he's a hudok dancer, and hudok is like a traditional dance within the Dayak Bahau tribe and other tribes in Eastern Kalimantan. And traditionally, the costume that they use to dance is made of banana leaves. But unfortunately, we can't use that because if we use banana leaves, there's a risk that it will rot when we get there. And if we try to make the costume there might not be enough readily available banana leaves.
Especially you're going to bring it on a plane.
Yeah,
Closed
exactly.
space, right?
So we have to be a bit creative, and but for the most part, authenticity is really what we're trying to bring into the exhibition. And of course, this principle of decolonization is also something that we want to take forward, not just something that we're practicing within the exhibition itself. And in particular, I'm thinking about the relocation of Indonesia's capital. Nusantara will be in East Kalimantan, which is IKN, which is where the majority of the remaining last generation of long ear women live and reside in. So what we're doing through Long Ears Through the Lens is showing that this is the real authentic cultural identity of Dayak people in East Kalimantan, and I hope that that's something that we can respect and appreciate as we do the relocation of the capital to East Kalimantan, and of course in our daily practice to appreciate and respect the cultures and customs of traditional and indigenous people in Borneo overall.
I see. Alright Bella, sekarang kita kembali lagi ke Nenek Iyek. Bagaimana Nenek udah mempersiapkan untuk pergi ke Hague nanti, ke Belanda? Persiapan apa aja yang udah Nenek lakukan?
Ya, sudah saya persiapkan segala pakaian adat.
Oh, pakaian tradisional pastinya, dan pakaian sehari-hari juga ya, Nek ya?
Ya, pakaian adat yang saya
pakai. Pakaian adat sehari-hari berarti?
Bukan, lain. Waktu ada acara baru kita pakai pakaian adat. Ini pakaian hari-hari.
Oh, oke.
Itu seperti yang adik pakai itu pakaian adat.
Berarti hari-harinya nanti pakai itu. Ada nama pakaiannya?
Nama pakaiannya, Nek?
Namanya apa?
Ta'ahwang.
Ta'ahwang.
Ya.
Oke.
Itu bajunya, itu labung tuwaknya. Labung tuwak. Labung.
Lawung tuak.
Ya.
Lawung tuak.
Sama bulu
Itu
enggang ya?
ekor ranggangnya.
Ya. Jadi lavungnya ini
pakaian hari-hari.
Ini
pakaian
hari-hari.
adat. Itu pakaian adat.
Oh, jadi Nenek akan
Yang
pakai
resminya
itu
kan
setiap
kita
hari nanti
pakai
di
itu.
sana.
Ya, siapa tahan. Berat sekali itu.
Oh,
7 kilo satu bajunya.
Iya.
7 kilo.
7 kilo
Ya.
satu bajunya, wow.
Iya, saya bawa 2 setel tadi. Saya kira
Tapi 7 kilo itu semuanya kan dari ornamen kepala sampai
ya,
Ini berat.
setelan.
Karena ini kan dari
nggak ada sepatu ya, nyeker ya.
Ada.
Oke. Jadi what Nenek Iyek's been preparing are the clothes,
Yes.
the clothes for event. And the clothes for a daily basis.
Right.
The daily basis clothes is like the one Bella is wearing right now. And from head to toe, the weight of the attire is
About
7
7
kilos.
kilograms.
Yeah, and they are gonna wear it without shoes.
Without shoes.
So wearing it barefoot. Yeah.
So Nenek Iyek is very prepared to this.
Yep.
And we see now, you can see the clothing that Bella is actually wearing. Again, this is 7 kilograms, and very not light.
Yeah. But what's heavy in the attire? Because it doesn't look heavy.
Yeah, it doesn't look like.
Yeah, but doesn't look like it's 7
Because
kilos.
it is apa ya?
Manik
The
ya.
manik
manik semua.
Ya, dironce, dirangkai ya.
Ya,
Heavy ya.
gitu.
Jadi kayak maniknya manik khusus juga ya.
Iya.
Yeah.
So it's
Dari
like,
Tawau juga kita beli beli itu.
It's heavy, so underneath there's like almost suspenders that is hooked across my shoulders
Really?
to help when women wear this so that it's not heavy on the hips.
I
Right.
see.
Because
So the skirt is made of unique, what?
Beading.
Beads, yeah, like unique beads
Right.
of Dayak tribe.
Right.
And it's heavy because it's
Heavy. There's a lot of them.
Yeah,
Of course, you can tell
and
from
this
here.
is
there's
from
a mess of the like the rangkaian
Yeah.
series
Like
of
the
the beads
weaving
that's been sewn together.
Yeah.
And you got suspenders on top.
You
Underneath,
get suspenders
yeah.
on top to make it firm.
Lighter, yeah. And this is traditional Dayak Bahaw, ya.
So when do you?
Ya,
when do
rangkaian
you,
itu saya bikin motif Dayak semua.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, it's
Ada
beautiful.
3
I love
setel.
it. Yeah, very bright. Right?
And
When does
she's
Nenek wear?
expert to do this.
Oh wow.
Yeah, she's expert.
Handmade.
Imagine handmade to
The
rangkai.
details,
Details.
the accuracy, and all of this is handmade. so
It's
it's
from
Right,
the very little beds.
Yeah, I can see that. It's very small. If you-
Yeah. So Ibu Ati, when does a Dayak woman wear this particular outfit?
Ditanya nggak nih?
Ibu,
Dipakai.
when does a Dayak woman wear this
Yeah.
particular outfit?
Maybe Bella, could you
Or-
please stand up? To
Oh yeah,
show
please
the
Bella,
viewers? Yeah.
show it.
Yeah, this.
There you go.
Imagine from the little beds into the whole.
Yeah, it's not moving a lot, especially the
Yeah,
bottom too.
that's
now
a
you
sign
can
of
actually,
heaviness.
We can actually tell now because when she was
Maybe
sitting down, we don't really see it.
it needed to 1 month or 3 months to
To
Make the
finish
costume.
one,
all the costume.
right?
It's really
Kalau motif kenyang
Wow.
lain.
Yeah. Is there any difference between a woman who's not married and the married one in terms of the clothes or the way it's worn?
as her.
This,
Oh, yeah.
the
Oh, yeah.
positioning of the feathers, for example, which one goes front and which one goes back, can be a sign of whether a woman is married or not. Kalau sudah nikah kan, kalau belum nikah yang kiri di belakang gitu ya, Nek.
Yeah.
Kalau sudah nikah ada yang di
It's a
depan.
sequel.
Oh, berarti Bella ini Bella is
Bella's
not
single.
married yet. Yeah, because the
Di
the
belakang.
left feather is
Left
back
one is actually
side.
going
Yeah.
back. Okay,
If,
so that means she's
one
still
is
single,
married,
right?
yeah,
And
if
then
one is
you're
married,
when
then
Bella's married, it's going to be on the other.
yeah, the left one
I
is
think
gonna
the Dayak culture full of symbol,
Yes.
the clothes, the tattoos.
Yeah.
Yes. And,
Yeah.
And also
since you
your,
mentioned
yeah,
the tattoos on
Yeah.
Bella's arms.
tattoo,
They-
Bella's tattoo, and also your bracelets.
Yes.
Tell us more about them.
Yeah, you want to talk a little bit about Bella? You want to talk
Yeah.
about
What does
tattoos?
it mean?
Meaning,
This is the tumpah lengan tattoo. So actually, this is a tattoo that's traditionally done for Dayak women, and this is from the Dayak Iban tribe. So this is in West Kalimantan, and this is a symbol of a woman's maturity, and if they have mastered a certain skill. So traditionally, if a Dayak woman is able to weave or do beadings or do cooking and things like that, they can earn the tattoo. So it's
So it
not
doesn't depend
given.
on age.
No.
I think depend on skill.
Depend on
Yeah.
right, so you earn it.
Yeah,
Right? If you have something really, you have a particular skill, then you can add it.
maybe
Very
just like certificate.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Certificate and identity.
Yeah, and it's done traditionally, so with the tok-tok method, and it's actually
the bracelets as well. We're curious.
it's like a replacement of this. So if you already have the tumpa lengan means like arm bracelet. So if you already have the tattoo, you don't have to wear this anymore. But this is also weaving, yeah.
You cannot have both, yeah? Just the tattoo or the bracelets.
Yeah,
You have to choose.
You can still wear them, I guess, but it's almost like this is the bracelet
That is.
that will be attached to your body.
Yeah.
Oh my, that is really cool.
Yeah, it's interesting.
So, Belay, maybe this is the last question for you. The future projects, once the exhibition is over, of course, we're sure that you have a lot of things
Yeah.
planned
Yeah.
going forward.
So, circling back to that principle of decolonization, we don't want this event to be a tokenization of long ears and also the Dayak tradition. So there are some concrete steps that we will be taking after this exhibition to make sure that we're respecting the community.
Yeah.
So one of it is we're trying to advocate for formal recognition and appreciation for the last generation of long-eared women, so that they can get the support that they need, whether that's from local government or from the national government of Indonesia. Since, as Mbati mentioned, there's only about 48 women left who are still preserving this culture, and it's not always easy.
Yes.
If you hear the full story of Nenek Yek's kind of journey of preserving this, she's gone through a lot of challenges and still was determined to maintain the culture, and that's something that's worth appreciating and recognizing. And then beyond that, it's also, when we're highlighting this multidimensionality of the Dayak culture, it's also about how do we then respect and support the legacy of the long-eared women in the Dayak community. And Nenek Yek, for example, is an environmental activist and is currently a cultural leader or pamangku adat in Dusun Long Isun.
Oh, wow.
And she's been fighting against, deforestation and kind of encroachment of land and where she lives, and that's something that we want to support as well.
A hero, I think.
Yeah.
We're so proud of Nenek Yek.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Journey.
So beyond the long ears, we also want to respect the legacy of the grandmothers, whether that's advocating for indigenous rights, advocating for the recognition of land rights and forests that are sacred to our culture. And again, really the message that we're trying to get out there is we, the Dayak people, have a beautiful culture, tradition, and wisdom that's worth protecting together.
Wow. We're so inspired by the journey of Dayak
we still
tribe,
have
and
here
also
in
we learned
Indonesia.
a lot about the culture, especially Nenek Yek is an actual hero in today's world.
Yes.
Wow. Kita sangat kagum terhadap perjuangan Nenek Yek untuk melestarikan untuk melestarikan semua budaya ini, Nek. Kita bangga dan kita sangat menghargai perjuangan Nenek.
Terima kasih.
Well, guys, that was our discussion with Nenek Yek, Bati, and Belai. Yes.
Thank you so much for coming.
They're going to be going
studio.
to the Netherlands next month, and again, they're going to try to show to the world
the richness and the beauty of Dayak culture.
Yes, yes. All right, guys, we are going to take a quick break, and I hope you guys are still around because we still have 2 more segments, and we're still going to be talking about fascinating stuff. Stay tuned.